Okay, so we're talking about the Batman again, and this time they're finally coming for the movie. I was a little surprised when I saw this. I laughed quite a bit because this is literally a 2-minute scene, and I had to think back on it to remember if the guy in the scene was even Asian, and to be honest, I can't remember. There's a slight spoiler here. It's nothing that would ruin your movie experience, but on the opening 10 minutes of the movie, it's hard to remember because it's a 3-hour movie, so it's hard to remember all the details. But in the first 10 minutes, there is a scene where you're seeing a lot of the crime in Gotham, and Robert Pattinson's kind of narrating what's going on and how criminals are fearing him, and there's change a little bit. And you see this dude on a train. I guess he's Asian. I can't remember. I'm not really looking at those kinds of details. I don't care. But, you know, we live in a world where everything is analyzed by these woke crazies. And he gets off the train. He's followed by a bunch of dudes in clown makeup. It's not the Joker. It's not related to the Joker. Like I said, this really isn't going to ruin your experience of the movie. And they get out to attack him and beat him up, probably to rob him. And then you see the Batman come out of the darkness, and he beats up the group of people that were going to either just attack the guy or rob him. And that's it. That's it. And then he leaves, and we go to the next scene. It's really not that big of a deal, but apparently this is now racist. That's where we're at. This is how it's sensitive. Once again, by the way, this movie is being blasted because of real-world violence. Some of the criticisms against this movie, and I've done videos on these, are that the Batman too closely resembles shithole cities. And because of that, and because of the crime plaguing these cities, like Chicago, New York City, some places in California, the Batman is triggering because it reminds people that they live in a shithole. I'm serious. I'm not making that up. Also, I would like to point out that this movie has quite a bit of diversity and has a lot of diverse characters that are portrayed in as good moral citizens. But because there's this one scene, people will never be happy. Okay? If anything, you could say that this scene makes white dudes look bad because all the guys that were going after that Asian guy were white. But no. Critics on Twitter are calling the scene triggering and insensitive to Asian Americans during a time of increased violence against the community. Uh-oh. Better not go see the movie, huh? And I like how they say Asian Americans are raising concerns over a scene in the new Batman movie. Okay. Let's call it what it is. A handful of people with blue check marks on Twitter. And then NBC News writes a whole article about it. The scene occurs within the first 10 minutes of the 3-hour film, in which Batman interrupts an attack and beats up the assailants, telling them that he is vengeance. This saves the Asian man, who appears fearful of Batman as well. Critics on Twitter are calling this scene triggering and insensitive to the Asian Americans during a time of increased violence against the community, regardless of whether the attack was intended as racially motivated. Looking a little too hard into this scene. Who remember? And by the way, this is a 3-hour fucking movie. It's a long movie. Who sees this movie and holds on to that scene for 3 hours? God, I can't wait to get out of here to tweet about that one scene that happened almost 3 hours ago. For real. This is what you take out of that movie. 3-hour movie. And that, you must have had to write it down or something. Because they stayed angry enough about this scene 3 hours later. And it happens in the first 10 minutes. It's not even racially motivated. They were probably going to rob the guy because he was getting off onto an empty subway platform. He was getting off onto an empty subway platform, and they noticed it. They were going to rob him. I didn't even remember the dude was Asian. But these people, they're like the minority police, like scoping out every scene in the movie. Like, imagine if like there was a purse mugger running and he bumped into a black guy. They would call it a movie of like, they would say like it's hurting black people. Seriously, can we talk about the first 10 minutes of The Batman and how the gang of men attempt to beat up an Asian man on the subway? Was this supposed to be commentary? Was it a blind spot? Was this filmed before or after the surge Asian hate crimes? Before the surge of Asian hate crimes? It was quite triggering. The Batman was a good 2-hour movie inside of a not as good 3-hour movie. That's fair criticism right there. That's one of my biggest criticisms, is that the movie is too long. I think you could have cut a half hour of that movie and it would have been perfect. 3 hours for that movie was too long. It needed a better editor. That's a fair criticism. And then you drop down and you read more. And if you're Asian American and have been paying attention for the first 10 minutes in which a gang of subway thugs violently assaults an Asian American man on the platform are triggering as hell. Some are tweeting content warnings about the scene to Asian Americans planning to see it in the theaters. And several people on social media are questioning whether the depiction was an oversight or meant to be commentary. Oh, my God. Nobody cares. I would imagine 95% of Asians will see this movie and not even notice that scene. But apparently, you know, you're not allowed to depict people in real-world situations, which I thought all of this was about. Crime affects everybody. Okay, so this is stupid. It's a dumb complaint. And it's one of many, and it won't be the last one. I just don't quite understand what these people want out of movies. Because to me, this movie came off as pretty diverse and was, you know, the good people in the movie are shown as overtly good. What's the problem here? Because there's one scene, because the one guy, who was probably glad to get that part, by the way, is Asian. And he gets beat up. You don't think crime happens to everybody? Oh, man. This is the world we live in. It reminds me of that stuff with the Halloween movie. I think it was Halloween. Or actually, maybe it was it. No, it did happen in Halloween. In the Halloween Kills movie, the recent one, Michael Myers kills a gay couple. And people were calling the movie homophobic and shit on social media from that. I think it happens in the It movie, too. It Part 2. People were going crazy about that as well. It's like, get a fucking life. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, make sure to follow me over on Twitch. I do watch parties, play video games over there. They're always fun. Follow me over there and come hang out. Also, make sure you subscribe to YellowFlash, my other channel. There's a link to that in the description as well. I do a lot of live streams over there that I don't do on this channel. Usually smaller and a little bit more personal. So make sure you follow me over there and sign up.